Almost one. Welcome to If These Heels Could Talk. I'm JoyGenea with Solutions by JoyGenea.
And I'm Michelle with Bad Cat Digital. And today we are talking about the book Burnout, The Secret to Unlocking the Stress Cycle. Yeah, that's not helpful.
Okay, so put that. It might be in the right light. There we go. I got it right there.
So this book by Emily Nagoski and Amelia Nagoski, I think sisters.
So glad you took that last name. Yes.
Yeah. This book has been recommended to JoyGenea and I multiple times by multiple people on different occasions.
All women, though.
All women.
I will add.
It's a book definitely written from a female point of view.
Well, and they said it's basically for women.
It's written for women. It's written by women.
I managed to get like 5 pages in. Don't mess with that.
Yeah. And it really does center on the female stress experience. That's what it centers on. Now, I'm going to say this in a way I need to say this right away.
Yeah.
I don't think it's bad that it was written for women. I think a lot of books are not written for women. I think a lot of books are written for men. And then the assumption is that because they're not written specifically for men, intentionally for men, they're written for everyone. But in reality, they're written for men.
Oh, so it's kind of like
because
the way
it centers
they did,
the male experience.
Right. So kind of the way they did scientific studies and those types of things. We just study the men and
we always have.
It.
Yeah, the men are the norm. The men are the average. Right. We'll study, 500 men and then set the standard
it's
for all.
Enough.
Yeah. And so I just, non-intentional male-centered spaces are still male-centered spaces, and Burnout is a female-centered space. And they are really careful not to be focused on cisgendered women. So I was really appreciative of that.
Nice.
When I started reading it. But the book is about the stress response. The book is basically about moving through the emotions of a stress response rather than halting a stress response. That's what it's about.
I haven't made it that far yet.
Yeah, I'm a couple chapters in.
Yeah, I was going to say,
most of my I love this when authors do this, is they say, if you don't have time to read this whole book, here we're going to tell you everything that it's about in the first chapter. So if you don't want to read the whole thing, you can just read the first chapter.
I totally love them for that. That is nice.
And it removes the anxiety over finishing the book that you started, the morality of finishing what you started.
But
that's what it's about. So the basic idea is that, and the metaphor they use throughout, at least the beginning of the book so far, has been a metaphor about being chased by a lion.
Oh,
if you're chased by a lion, your endorphins flood, your stress response goes up.
Right. Your brain shifts into a whole different gear.
Adrenaline and all of these different things. And you have to decide, fight, flight, or freeze. Right? Do I fight the lion? Do I run away from the lion? Do I stop in my tracks and just freeze? Bad idea. So they posit if what your brain decides to do is run from the lion and you start running, your physical like the physicality of running, helps your body burn through those stress hormones, which then helps you come down from the stress of being attacked by a lion, later on when you're out of danger. But the idea of burnout is this idea that instead of processing through our stress hormones, we deny our stress hormones. We hold back, we push down, we say it's not there. Therefore, we never process through them. Therefore, we live in them all the time. Therefore, we burn out.
Interesting.
That's the idea.
That'll be interesting to read.
So I'm super excited to keep reading this book because it's very true to the experience I've had running and owning my own business, where I've lived in this state of feeling inundated by information, by the need to make decisions, by all of the things that we've talked about in this podcast. Where I've just
the things of business, or
inundated,
like yesterday,
overwhelmed.
I'm doing the invoicing, and then I was fixing a person's problem, and then I was fielding a phone call, and I do some on-spot coaching, and I was like,
and I have to do the invoicing today, and I just found a problem with it, so I'm like, I want to fix it right now,
right?
Blah, blah,
which
blah,
can't,
blah. But I can't because I'm doing this,
and then
I
there's
want to
20
focus
other
on
things
this,
right behind
and
this.
now there's 15 other things behind it, plus the 7 7 client meetings today and whatever else is going to come up before I finally get home at 9:00 tonight.
And here's some of the burnout is I don't know about you, but sometimes there are particular clients or particular situations. I'm so pre-concerned about them that I'm already fighting the lion days before the day of I wake up, and I'm totally engaged with the fight or flight on that thing. It's like, it's not even the moment. Like,
there are
put it
things
down
on my to-do list that I dread so much that I do them 25 times in my head before I actually do them.
Yes.
Do you have that?
Not as much, but that I've been working on a whole separate process. So.
And you gave me a great tool, which is you can do anything for 20 minutes.
Yes.
Set a timer, do it for 20 minutes.
Yes.
And the trick is you get so into it that you might as well finish, because what your brain is doing is stopping you from starting.
Yes.
So
you just get hijacked.
Yeah.
You get hijacked by a script.
Yeah.
That's bogus. Yeah. And it's part of it. It's funny. It's the script that comes up during fight or flight.
Right.
In reality, like, it's the script that comes up that's like, oh my gosh, we have to make one of these two decisions.
Yeah.
It's the same script it's pulling up about avoiding something.
Right. Absolutely.
It's deciding fear.
So what are you excited to read about in the book?
I only made it so far on purpose because I was like, don't try and take in too much all at once. But I did get to the part where it talks about exactly what in 1978 they defined burnout as. 75. Okay. It says 75, and it said, what's burnout exactly? It's emotional exhaustion, the fatigue that comes from caring too much for too long.
Yeah.
And I thought about caregivers, and I thought about a lot of the things we've experienced recently.
Yeah.
I really thought about the last year and a half.
I thought about the political environment for the last 6 years, 8 years, 10 years.
Yeah.
And how much we have to care all of the time about all of the things.
Yep.
Yeah.
I thought of a variety of things. Number 2, depersonalization, the depletion of empathy, caring, and compassion.
Oh, totally.
And that.
Do you ever get just done and then you're like, I don't care, and then you're mean?
Yeah,
I'm mean.
That's what I really don't like.
I'm mean when I'm done, and I don't want to be mean. No. I don't want to be callous. Because I go past a dispassionate guidance.
You get
into actively mean.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dismissive.
Yes.
Invalidating.
Ask any of my siblings.
Ask any of my staff.
Yeah, I was just saying, ask any of my siblings, and they will totally tell you, like, that's what happens.
We do this in our partnerships, too.
Yeah. Oh, ask my husband,
Yeah, ask my husband for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if he's being honest and I'm not in the room, he would
he would say, there are moments.
And then if I step back in the room, he'd be like, no,
not at all.
Not my angel. He's so sweet. And number 3 was decreased sense of accomplishment. Yep.
Totally. What?
Unquestionable.
Unconquerable.
Conquerable?
Unconquerable sense of futility. Oh. Feeling that nothing you do makes any difference.
Oh, they shouldn't have divided that word in the middle for me.
No, that's a rough word to divide in the middle.
Thank you, Michelle, for the help.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Unconquerable.
I know, as I read that, I related to that.
Well, it's that sense of why bother?
Partway through, I would say about September, when I thought my dad's house was sold.
Yeah.
And so then I thought I would be shifting the business into a different gear. Like all of the things that had been kind of put on hold and shifted and I was managing, I just, it felt like the line was there and I was going to cross it. Mm-hmm. And I have to say all 3 of those really kicked in when that sale fell through. And all of a sudden the house came back on the plate and all of these new things needed to be addressed and dealt with. And it was like, I don't have it. I remember done. I got up, I'm like, I don't have this. I don't know where to find this anymore.
Right.
And that the great thing that came out of that for me is I then knew I had to shift.
Yeah.
And like we were just talking about, so the microphones weren't working when we came in today and we were getting ready to go and we couldn't figure it out. And we're like, well, when in doubt and burned out, reboot.
Yeah. Turn it off and on again.
Yep. Turn it off and on again. And that's what we did. And here we are. And the microphones were great.
And that's what I'm doing. I'm going on quilt retreat this weekend. I'm going to turn it off so I can turn it back on again.
Yeah.
Because I'm really in that place of, because after the pandemic, after the build, like it's not even after, but after the shutdown, after all of the leadership changes, And then now the building, and then now several people leaving.
Right, the transition
in leadership, the transition in vision, the transition in all of these spaces. After all of that, I'm just what I like to say, and I'm really going to clean this up for you because it's got a swear word in it.
No.
My give a crap is broken. Yeah. My give a crap is broken. It's just broken. I don't give a crap. And I have to give a crap. Like, I have to give more of a crap than other people.
And this is what I know, and this is why I have quarterly exit, decompression retreats is really, and they're not exactly what you're thinking of. They're perfectly designed with people that also are high running business
high energy,
leaders, and they too need decompression space. Yeah, but they're also going to be working at the same time. Like it's a combination.
But it's so I kind of think about your retreats as deep work retreats. Like there are times when you step back, step away from the daily grind. You step away from your email. You step away from all to really think.
Yes.
And work on your business instead of in your business.
And you come out of that, for me, what I find is that's how that is how I reset. That's how I get the give a crap button back. That's how, and it's interesting because you don't realize it's happened.
No,
like you go away and you're having
gone.
a great time. And then when I get back, I'm like, oh, I'm back.
I can always tell when and the thing is, I'm getting better at telling earlier, which I think is part of what we're going to end up reading in this book. And I'm super excited about our tools and tricks to kind of work through the small things on a daily basis so that the big things don't feel so big. One of the things that I notice about myself is that when I don't have ideas anymore,
that's the sign.
That's a sign. But the thing is, I would really like to find an earlier sign.
And it's there.
I'm sure it's there.
It's there.
I know it's there, but I can't identify it yet. I can't. And so I'll keep looking for it because I think awareness and looking for it is how you're going to find it.
They might mention something.
Yeah.
Recently I had a great conversation with a gal about her business. It was so funny. And basically I'm like, so let me get this straight. You ran into the wall 10 times.
Right.
You didn't take that as a hint that something should shift.
Right.
You then climbed over the wall.
Yep.
Then when you ran into the mountain, you scaled the mountain and the cliff. And I'm like, and now it's occurring to you, you might have missed a few signs. And she was laughing so hard. She goes, yeah. And I'm like, awesome. There's some training we need to do back there. Like we'll get back to this once we clean some of this up. Cause I'm like, you missed some of the simple signs, but which tells me for her alerts, like she doesn't have, she's so burnt out. She's so exhausted. You can't see it anymore. You can't see it anymore. Such tunnel vision.
So the things that I have done, I think, in the last several years to get ready for this book and ready for this conversation.
Yes.
First of all, this podcast has been immensely helpful.
It has.
Because we get this like cathartic discussion. It's very topical about what we're going through. We get that, and we get that together every week, which is just lovely.
Thank you. I agree.
My coaching relationship is fantastic. I'm in therapy, which is fantastic. These things that I have done and created help with getting ready for this conversation, because I don't think the person you described is ready for this book.
No.
She would just feel the stress and the strain.
She would just adding more
pressure,
would cause more tunnel vision.
Adding more pressure to do one more damn thing. A friend of mine, it was, I don't remember. Maybe it was you. I'm having really brain moments, but
she's pre-retreat, people. She's
retreat. It's tomorrow. I
know. It's going to be awesome.
But a friend of mine took a class on relaxation. It wasn't you. She took it at her church. She and another business, so a business owner, and then somebody who is not a business owner, but is friends with a lot of people who are,
a leader, but yet an employee.
A leader, but an employee. Yes. So they took this class on relaxation, and the business owner dropped out of the class because she felt so much pressure to do the homework to relax.
Oh my goodness, poor thing.
So it was this like pressure to perform in a group scenario of, finding perfect zen and perfect relaxation right now on demand.
No.
And it's like all of this added pressure that she put on herself. And
nobody else
did that. It's not there's no way that a relaxation class at your church is a competition to see who can relax the best.
Nope.
Nobody's grading you. Nobody's giving you. But I think it's because they called it a class and it triggered something in her brain about being graded, about being perfect.
She's a high performer.
Yes, she's a high performer.
Yeah.
And that's part of it.
Yeah.
And part of it is this perfectionism. And then part of the perfectionism is the pressure. And part of the pressure is the stress. And then we're back. And
all of those things you described, if we don't have awareness about them,
right,
then we can't notice signs,
right,
and we can't catch those internal dialogue conversations,
right,
at their root. We can't unplug them and say, "Oh, I'm sorry, your amp is off. Like, you don't have volume anymore."
And the thing is that she herself said, "This is ridiculous, but I still feel it."
Right.
So then, of course, she's adding the judgment of the shame, right? So there's the pressure, and then the shame for the pressure, and then the judgment for the pressure, and then the guilt of the shame, and it's just like, oh my gosh, quit the damn class already! Like, calm down.
We can see why she wanted the class,
and of course she wanted the class. She needs the class,
right?
But she didn't quit the class. She just stopped showing up.
Oh, that's even better.
Right? Because if you quit the class, you have to have the conversation about it.
And so instead,
it's just vague excuse, don't show up, vague excuse, don't show up. So as we're looking at reading Burnout, and we're going to probably try and get this done in the next month or so, and then
we're going to come back to this in January, because I think this will be a good conversation post holidays.
It'll be a really good. Oh my gosh, yes.
If you're on the edge, you'll know you'll be off the edge after the holidays. That's what I know.
So we'll come back to this conversation, but I'm super excited to keep reading, and I'm super excited to finish this and talk about it with you.
Thank you. I am too. Thanks for joining us today. We hope you've gained a little bit from our conversation, can relate some. I'd be surprised if you can't. And we hope you have a wonderful week. Thank you.